Jai Hind Class 7 students, today we are going to study the poem On the Grasshopper and the Cricket. It has been written by the famous poet John Keats. So this is how John Keats looks like. He is a very famous British poet and he used to write in the 19th century. He was born in England in 1795 and he was very young when he died. Unfortunately for us, for the literary world, he died of tuberculosis when he was just 25 years of age. But by the time he had written an astonishing amount of poetry. So a lot of work of John Keats is still present, which we still read. And this particular poem that we are talking about was written when he was only 21 years old. And you would be surprised to know that this poem was actually a kind of competition. John Keats was sitting with his friend one day, Leigh Hunt, who was also a poet, and they both decided that they will have a competition to write the best poem in the shortest amount of time. So they both started writing and John Keats won this competition. However, he was so humble and modest that he said that he preferred his friend's poem more. So he liked the other's poem better and he won the competition although. Now the subject of this poem, as you can understand from the title itself, are the grasshopper and the cricket. Now you can see the pictures of these two insects here, and I would like you people to go online and Google about these two insects, the grasshopper and the cricket, and you try to understand and research on their physical appearance, where we might find these creatures and how would you describe these creatures. So this particular poem is a sonnet. Now a sonnet is a poem of 14 lines, exactly 14 lines. There are two stanzas in this poem, and the first stanza is of 8 lines and the second stanza is of 6 lines. And they are completely distinct from each other. However, they talk about a common theme, but the two stanzas are completely distinct from each other. So this is a sonnet. Let us read the poem now. The poetry of earth is never dead. When all the birds are faint with the hot sun and hide in cooling trees, a voice will run from hedge to hedge about the new-mown mead. That is the grasshopper's. He takes the lead in summer luxury. He has never done with his delights, for when tired out with fun, he rests at ease beneath some pleasant weed. The poetry of earth is ceasing never. On a lone winter evening, when the frost has wrought a silence from the stove, there shrills the cricket's song, in warmth increasing ever, and seems to one in drowsiness half lost, the grasshoppers among some grassy hills. So now this sonnet that Keats has written is a nature poem. It celebrates the beauty of nature. Keats says that beauty of earth and the poetry of earth is never dead. Nature gives us poetry and nature gives its own kind of music to us through a lot of activities like rustling of the leaves, flowing of water in a river. There are so many animals and insects which have their own songs and everything. So Keats has focused on the beauty of nature since he's a romantic poet. Now Romanticism was a movement in England in the 19th century when poets used to focus not on humans but on the beauty of nature. So William Wordsworth and William Blake, John Keats, and these are some examples of romantic poets. So the first 8 lines of the poem are set in summer, while the next 6 lines of the poem are set in winter season. The first 8 lines talk about the grasshopper and the next 6 lines talk about the cricket song. So Keats says that during a hot summer day, all the birds are tired due to the scorching heat that is out there, and they take some rest in the cooling shade of trees. But the nature has to continue its poetry. Nature's poetry and music can never stop. So someone has to take lead to continue the music of nature. And here comes the grasshopper. When all the other birds are tired of singing and they take shade in cooling trees, the grasshopper comes forward, he takes the lead, and as the name suggests, grasshopper keeps hopping here and there, and he sings about the new mown mead. Now, new mown mead refers to a meadow, a field which has been newly mowed. Mowed means when you cut the grass from the field. So he is singing a song about a newly mowed meadow. The grasshopper continues hopping and singing the poetry of earth, and he is a very carefree kind of insect. He enjoys life and it's always at ease and having fun. And when the grasshopper is satisfied with his music, he takes some rest under some pleasant weed. Pleasant weed is a wild plant. Weed is a wild plant, so he goes and takes rest under some pleasant weed. Now the season changes and we are talking about the winter season. So the first line of this stanza, the poetry of earth is ceasing never, again reiterates the fact that the music of nature will never stop. It's going to continue and someone or the other will always keep on continuing. So in winter season, it's very silent outside because all the insects, all the animals, all the human beings in fact are in their houses. They are seeking the warmth of blankets and the warmth of stove because it's so frosty and chilly outside. So the cricket also is inside its house, but he's singing from there. So when winter arrives and all creatures shelter from the cold and loneliness and silence, the cricket song emerges and emphasizes the persistent quality of nature. And what this persistent quality is, that the music of earth is never going to stop. Now the cricket is forced to seek warmth indoors, but his song gets louder and louder as he sings because he is sitting near the stove and he's getting warmth from the stove. So he starts singing louder and louder. But here the listeners of the song, the human beings and the other animals, mistake the cricket song for the grasshopper song because they are unable to differentiate that now the grasshopper is not singing, some other creature is singing. And why is this happening? Because they are drowsy. Warmth induces drowsiness in us. We are in a sleepy state. So they are thinking that only the grasshopper is singing and not the cricket. So that's the meaning of the last line. And seems to one in drowsiness half lost, the grasshopper among some grassy hills. So this is the poem basically. It's a sonnet divided into 8 and 6 lines each. First stanza talks about summer season where the grasshopper is singing, and the second stanza, which consists of 6 lines, talks about the winter season where the cricket is singing, and they both are the representatives of the music of nature. And we have to understand the only theme of this poem is that nature will never going to stop singing and the music of earth will keep on continuing. I hope you enjoyed the poem. Thank you.